Today we will be talking about the Mage class and how you can basically progress as a mage and do all the floors without issues or with very little issues. So let's see. For floors, like for floors entrance and floor 1, I'd honestly say just use whatever you have. Personally, I would recommend at least having some kind of dragon armor. And since we're talking about mage, we're talking about wise dragon armor. So just doesn't have to be dungeoned because, well, if you're doing entrance floor or floor 1, you can't even wear it. So wait. Yeah, wise dragon armor. Hey, my booster cookie. So wise dragon armor for floors 1 and entrance floor. Yep, these two. And for weapons, entrance floor, I'd say just use whatever you have. You're probably gonna have a sword. You're probably not gonna have a mage item yet. But if for floor 1, if you can, get a Dreadlord sword because that's gonna be basically your first magic weapon with that ability, where it shoots a skull that deals, well, that amount of damage. At least I'd say at least go for an epic one. They're not that expensive. If you can afford the dragon armor, you can for sure afford this. Now, if you are a bit more rich, I guess aspect of the dragons will be okay. But this is basically gonna be your starting weapon, along with probably the Bonzo staff once you get floor 1 completion. And I think it only requires Catacombs 5, which isn't too bad at all. So if you have something if you have maybe a friend who can carry you through floor 1, or you can probably just find a free carry. Um, floor 1? Floor 1, find a party. Yep, right right here, free carry. Free carry. You'll get free carries up to probably at least floor 4. So so for armor, we can this can honestly carry you through basically the until floor 4, and that is zombie soldier, um armor. Now if you can get the legendary variant, then great. Again, they don't have to be 5-starred. As long as you have it, you're fine. They take undead essence to star, so it's not that much of a problem to star him anyway. And again, you'll just be sticking with the Dreadlord sword and the Bonzo staff. Now, by then, you should be able to wear dark goggles. Or just whenever you're able to buy dark goggles, just buy it. Because this is basically going to be your helmet replacement. These 3 goggles. Now, I know I'm not using it, but that's because I was trying left-click mage. Which, this guide's for right-click mages. Left-click mage is a bit harder to play, but you do a lot of damage. So, dark goggles. And once you are high enough catacombs level, switch to shadow goggles. And once you're high enough catacombs level, go to wither goggles. Now I can't use wither goggles, I can only use shadow goggles. Mine are right here. So yeah, zombie soldier should be able to carry you through. I was able to manage. I was able to manage with it for floor 4, and like I'd personally say, let me see my runs if I can. I'd personally say like maybe half of this was with zombie soldier, so I was able to do it with pretty easily. Now again, we're sticking with zombie soldier. If you want, you can go adaptive. You can go use the adaptive set. You get intelligence as a mage. I feel like this is just your, I guess, all around set if you're just trying to figure out what class you want. So if you want adaptive armor, pretty straightforward. You gain 50 intelligence as a mage, reforge it to, well, not ancient, reforge it to necrotic, your chest plate as loving, and you'll be good. So if you are in floor 4, you're pretty comfortable, then I'd say switch your weapons to spirit spirit scepter, a spirit scepter. Now I've had this basically until I got the Hyperion. So this is gonna be basically your best friend. Because one, no cooldown. You do a lot of damage if you have a lot of mana and ability damage. The mana requirement isn't that high if you have ultimate wise and the sheep pet. And you can aim. Wherever your cursor is, the bats will follow. So yeah, I think before I got this thing, I was able to do upwards to 90k damage in the overworld per hit, and it's splash damage too, so yeah. And in dungeons I was doing at most, I'd say 500,000 a hit, which is insane because that can carry you through floor 4 and floor 5. Now floor 6 is floor 6 is going to be where you're basically going to get a new armor set, and that is right here, Necromancer Lord. Again, if you want, I would recommend it because, well, it gives health, it gives a ton of health, a ton of defense, so you'll be tanky. And if you put loving and necrotic on it, then you'll still have a ton of mana. Let's go look at it. Right here, let's see. Let's go for 5-starred. Right here. See, necrotic, necromancer lord boots 5-star. Where is that? Okay. In dungeons, you'll get 523 mana intelligence, which is already a lot. Now if we go to something like the pants, there's 400 chest plate. Now if they had a legendary one, they didn't have a legendary chest plate. They don't. Okay. Okay, we'll just say a little less than 2, that 300 basically, because you're not gonna have necrotic, you're gonna have loving where you get more ability damage. And by then you should already have unlocked shadow goggles. Again, I'm still at that stage. I'm only catacombs 24, almost halfway there. And this is optional. I didn't go this route, but if you want to be able to grind higher floors than floor 4 with like no problems, I'd say get a Midas staff. Now, of course, 100 mil one is expensive, So maybe get something like this one right here, a 70 mil or even a 30 mil. Now if I can find one 20, like right here, 30 mil Midas stuff, it's not bad. Apparently there's not that much damage difference. I think only a 30% difference, which this isn't even going to be your main weapon during the end game or late game. So it won't even matter. You're just going to end up reselling it anyway. But if you want to be able to do higher floors, you need Catacombs 25 to even use it as a dungeon weapon. I'm pretty sure without it starred, you can still use it. Let me look for a non-starred one. Lowest. There one up for auction. Yeah, right here. You can use it without stars, but it's pretty much only worth it if there is stars. So yeah, I think you can even do left click mage with this because that's a lot of damage. 150 damage and 220 strength. And with if you put withered, you'll be able to get another 100 plus strength depending on catacombs level and the rarity. So that's up to floor, I'd say floor 6 because, well, floor 7 is basically where you'd be grinding for the Hyperion. Now personally, I got a carry for it, but I did save up the money to get this. And I skipped the Midas stuff, but I'm pretty sure if you have the Midas staff, you can frag run this. Now I haven't tested it. Once I once I have a solid amount of money again, I only have 23 mil, and I spent another 1.5 mil on a booster cookie earlier. But yeah, I'm pretty sure with a Midas staff you should be able to hold your own at 4-7. Of course, with a high catacombs level, because you should be able to use wither goggles. I'm not even able to do floor 7, mostly because I don't have scrolls, and I need to recombobulate this. I need to get a higher catacombs level and all that, because catacombs level is very important. If you look at, let me see. Okay, if you look at this, as you can see, you get more health, and your dungeon items will increase in stats by a lot. Like 8%, it doesn't look like a lot, but this is a lot. If you look at this, it's not even heroic, which it should be. And I'm already getting an extra 1263 mana as Catacombs 24, which honestly is not that high. If you look at this, like I said, I get 100, not 100, 1200, 700, 700. My shadow goggles alone give me 900. So yeah, catacombs level is very important. So if you're just planning to get carried and you save up a bunch of money like I did for a Hyperion and say you can do floor 7, you're probably not going to live, because I can't even do it. Now, this is pretty much where your end game, where you should be leaning towards moving on from Necromancer and Spirit Scepter or Midas Staff to Hyperion and Storm Armor. Now, this is basically going to be your last set. There's no other better set than this. And the Hyperion, I don't think I even have to explain. It's the next step from a Midas staff if you decide to even buy the Midas staff. And just this alone, even if you can't like afford the scrolls like me, or be a smarter person than I am and just buy it with the scrolls, you'll still be able to do that much damage with left clicking. If you have a combat pet, that much. 97, about 98. So yeah, I'd say, but I'd say just go whatever you want with the Hyperion goal. I went just buy it clean and I'll max it out myself. And again, you should have Wither Goggles with 3/4 Storm, all reforged to Necrotic, and Chestplate as Loving. Now for pets. There's basically only 2 mage pets. Well, technically there's one, and that's the sheep. Basically a must-have for all mages. The legendary sheep, because uh you're 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 saving 20% of your mana every time you right click. You get, and overheal doesn't really matter, but Dungeon Wizard, you get 25% more mana. That's a lot of mana. Now, the other one, you should already probably know. You're having a hard time surviving. Blue Whale. Blue Whale's good enough to handle your health problems. Go bin. Yep, right here. The only thing is they're pretty expensive. Cheapest one, it says 17 mil. I doubt that. Oh wait, that's probably something else. But yeah, you can see they're pretty pricey. You want a level 100 one? Let me just look for one real quick. Yeah, you know, this was close enough. 39 mil. Level 100 is 60 mil. That's probably overpriced. 46 mil. Yeah, I'm just gonna say 45 mil for a level 100 pet. Blue whale pet. Now, of course, you're gonna either have a textbook or a turtle shellmet on it. That's basically gonna be your only 2 items, and it's your choice. Doesn't really matter. I personally like the textbook more because I get more mana, meaning more damage. So yeah, if you want to spend 45 mil on a blue whale, sure. But this thing's at most 10 mil. For a level 100, maybe? Legendary. Yeah, look at this. It's really cheap. Right here, the first level 100, I'm guessing. Not even 10 mil, it's 6 mil. Look at that. I'm gonna say between 6 to 10 mil because prices do change. And of course, still textbook and turtle shellmet, your choice. Now for like, I guess, extra major weapons, as you see here. Ink wand, if you want. You're barely gonna be able to use this. It's basically just for mini boss killing, but you're not even gonna be close to the mini boss. So if you just want to do like a lot of damage, like I'm not even at my right click mage setup, so I'll be doing significantly less damage. But Yeah, if you want the ink wand, go right ahead. Now is my game gonna crash? Please don't crash. Aw. Okay, anyway. Now the other one, I'm just gonna keep talking while this thing tries not to kill itself. Now the other one is going to be the voodoo doll. There we go. So as I was saying, we get that 500k, and I'm not even using my... Why are my boots off? And I didn't even have boots on. So yeah. Anyway, let's go with the voodoo doll because I mentioned it already. So voodoo doll is basically gonna be more more helpful than the ink wand because wow, that lags so much. All right, we do this so you can see the red numbers. That's a percent damage, so how much health they have won't matter, and it's only a 5-second cooldown, so it's not even that much. Now I know it says 36, but again, it's mana scaled. So depending on how much mana you have, it's gonna do more. And again, it's a percent damage and based on their health. Now I don't know the exact percent, but I do know it's a percent damage. In dungeons, this thing was doing 100,000 damage per second. Yeah, per second. So it basically just took out a whole mill off off an enemy, and they slow it down too. It's really good. As I was saying, with the ink wand, let me get a proper there 700k. 700k, and I'm not even in a right click mage setup. I'm literally in a left click mage setup. Even my talismans are shaded. So yeah, this thing is helpful in rare situations, but I'd say just if you want to kill a mini boss faster, then go ahead. Now if you want to be smarter than me, once you have enough, change the voodoo doll to ice spray, an ice spray wand. You don't even need to star it because you're only using it for the right click ability. So let me see the cheapest. Oh, this is the cheapest, 10 mil. 10 mil. Not bad. I don't know why this one has more. I mean, if you can get an epic one, if it makes a damage difference, then go for it. But a rare one's good enough. This one is better than the ice than the voodoo doll because if you look at its ability, it freezes them in place for 5 seconds. But frozen mobs also take 10% increased damage. Now, this isn't like this where it's you do X amount of damage for 10 seconds. You do your damage. So let's say this. Let's say this is my base damage. With the let's say 690k is my base damage with let's say a spirit scepter with all the blessings and stuff. Use an ice spray wand, you're gonna be doing 10% more, and you can spam it. You can literally just spam the spirit scepter like this. So you'll be getting more damage output than the voodoo doll, and your teammates can help you. So you'll be doing it's not even 10%. If your teammates help you with whatever you're trying to go with it, you'll be doing you'll be since there's 5 people max, I'm gonna be saying upwards to 50% more damage. And that's depending on the weapon you're using. So yeah. But I guess if you have a Hyperion, none of this would matter. I'd say Ice Spray 1 is still useful. But yeah. Now again, pets. These two. Sheep and blue whale. I personally like sheep because I get more damage. But blue whale, if you want to survive. Reforges. We're sticking with necrotic on these, necrotic on helmet, leggings, boots, loving on chestplate. And for talismans, you're gonna go with one of two options. This, again, personal preference. You can either go with, let me see if I can find a talisman here. Right here, demonic. You can go with demonic. You get, for rares, you get, oh, that's not accurate. Hold on. Here, 2 strength, 9 intelligence. Or you can go bizarre. Again, you right click mage. So if you want just a bit more mana, then go bizarre. But for me, I went demonic. I would go demonic because that means you can use your left click abilities because you'll have strength. You will have strength. And you can, and in situations, because you have mage beam, so you'll be hitting from like this far if you left click. You can still lifesteal. Not a lot, but it's better than nothing. And if you go bizarre, you're basically all depending on you literally one-shotting everything. So yeah. Personal preference for me goes to demonic. And if you want bizarre for that extra mana, go for it. Now, let's see. Is there anything else to talk about? Oh yeah. Well, these, if you want the mana flux, this is useful. Like actually, because heals 2% of your max health per second. You're gonna have a ton of health. And for mages, that 50% base mana regen, that is so helpful. And if you want the Wand of Restoration, then go for it. Again, not needed. I just have it because why not? Now, for a little recap, entrance floor to floor 1. Basically, use whatever you have. Whenever you can afford it, buy a Dreadlord sword. Yeah, whenever you can afford it, buy a Dreadlord sword. Epic rarity recommended. Whenever you whenever you can. Well, you need floor 1 completion, so get a Bonzo staff right here. Is this the epic one? No, it's the I don't know what it's called. But yeah, Bonzo staff. If you want, I didn't touch on this because I didn't see a real reason for it. But if you want, you can get a frozen scythe. These are really pricey. I'd recommend just sticking to, like, if you save like, let's see what the cheapest one is. 4 mil. If you literally save another 4 mil, you can buy a spirit scepter. Am I right on that? No, 2 mil. But that's clean. So yeah, if you want a frozen scythe, go for it. Now, after using whatever you want, get adaptive armor. Or if you want your budget option that does pretty much the same thing, go with legendary zombie soldier. Right here, zombie soldier. You get You're a bit more tanky. Still gives intelligence because of your buff, because of the Reforge, so it all works out. Now for weapons, you're gonna be moving on to the Spirit Scepter, like I said. Not too pricey. And after that, for floors 6, this is optional because I personally like grinding floor 4 more. You can get a Midas staff. Again, doesn't have to be 100 mil, although it would be better. You can get a 30 mil, 70 mil, whatever you want. And if you want it starred, you have to be Catacombs 25. And that's when you move on. And then you also move on to Necromancer Lord. 3/4 of it, no helmet. Then you also move on from there. When you get to floor 7, you're aiming for Hyperion. Again, if you want clean, here it is. If you want starred, it'll cost you a lot more. If you want starred with Wither Impact, that's going to cost you so much. Then you're going to move on to Storm Armor. Then for like extra utility, Ink Wand, again, optional. Then Vood. How do you spell this? I was spelling it right. Anyway, Voodoo Doll. Voodoo Doll. Once you, and if you can afford it, which I can, I just choose not to do it for some reason. I want to get the drop myself. And Ice Spray Wand. For pets, it'll be sheep. Sheep with textbook or turtle helmet. Or blue whale pet with textbook or turtle helmet. All armor, reforged to 3/4. Necrotic, which is gonna be your helmet, leggings, boots, and a not necromancer. Whatever chestplate you have, set it to loving. Your weapons are of course gonna be your weapon reforges is of course gonna be heroic, like this, because of the extra intelligence. Oh yeah, ultimate enchants. Basically, a must-have is wisdom, because you get a lot more mana. Like if I take off my pants, well, that's a bad example. Okay, if I take off the chest plate, that's also a bad example. It doesn't have wisdom, because this is just a temporary one. But depending on how much XP levels you have, like for me, I have 103 down here. You get more mana. I think max is 100 extra mana per piece, so extra 400 mana. And talismans, demonic or bizarre. Again, personal preference. And I think that's it. Now, if there's anything I missed, let me know. Because, well, I was basically thinking about this on the top of my head. Basically, just thinking about my own progression. And thinking how I wanted to progress. But, again, I skipped Midas stuff for Hyperion. Now, this will be it for now. If you want other classes, or just any other types of guides in general, let me know what you want, and I'll go for it. Now, for classes, I can basically do any. I know the basic idea for all of it. So, If you want any of those or any others types of guides,